The New York Knicks have officially crossed the threshold into elite territory. We're talking about a franchise that for the first time since the legendary 1991 to 1994 run under Pat Riley has secured 50 wins in 3 consecutive seasons. This isn't just a good year, it's a definitive shift in the culture at Madison Square Garden. We are sitting at 50-28 and holding firmly onto that 3rd seed in the Eastern Conference. And after a shaky week where the energy did seem to dip, the Knicks just went out on Friday night at home and reminded the entire NBA what they're capable of when they're locked in. A 40-point demolition of the Chicago Bulls was not just a win, it was a wire-to-wire destruction. At one point, New York led by 47 points. That is the kind of statement that you want to see with just 4 games left in the regular season. Today we're breaking down the historical significance of this 50-win milestone, and as well as the absolute offensive masterclass from OG Anunoby recently, and Mitchell Robinson identity debate, and the high-stakes injury updates regarding Karl-Anthony Towns and Deuce McBride as we head into tonight's matchup in Atlanta. So first, on Friday night from the opening tip, it was clear that Mike Brown had challenged this team's intensity. The Knicks opened the game on a staggering 18-0 run. Chicago didn't even see a bucket until halfway through the first quarter. By the time the buzzer sounded on the first period, it was 38-16. By halftime, it was 78-41. That is a level of dominance that we usually only see in the first round of the playoffs when a first seed faces an 8th seed. What was most impressive though was not just the scoring, it was the ball movement. The Knicks finished with 30 assists on 48 made field goals. That is a 62% assist rate, which is phenomenal for a team that sometimes relies heavily on Jalen Brunson's isolation gravity. Speaking of Brunson, he had a quiet but surgical 17 points and 10 assists in just 26 minutes of action. He didn't even have to push the pace because the supporting cast was so locked in. When you can rest your superstar point guard for the entire 4th quarter because you're up by 40, that is a massive win for the training staff as much as the coaching staff. Now we have to talk about OG Anunoby. We know he's a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. We know he erases the opponent's best player every single night, but on Friday we saw offensive OG and it was terrifying. 31 points in just 30 minutes. He was 9 of 15 from the field and a ridiculous 7 of 10 from 3-point range. When OG is hitting his catch-and-shoot triples at that clip, the Knicks offense becomes mathematically impossible to guard. If you double Brunson, OG is wide open. If you stay home on OG, Brunson has a runway to the rim. It's a pick-your-poison scenario. What stood out to me though was his aggressiveness in transition. He wasn't just waiting in the corner, he was running the floor, hunting mismatches and crashing the offensive glass. He finished with a team-high plus 32 plus-minus. In an even-keeled assessment, OG is arguably the most important player on this roster outside of Brunson when it comes to winning a 7-game series. If he's healthy and shooting like this, the finals are not just a goal, they're an expectation. And with Karl-Anthony Towns sidelined last game due to that right elbow impingement, Mitchell Robinson stepped back into the starting lineup and reminded everyone why he was the anchor of this defense for the last half-decade. 17 points, 11 rebounds, and he was a perfect 7 for 7 from the field. There is a major debate brewing among Knicks fans right now. Does the team have a better defensive identity with Mitch in the starting lineup versus KAT? Let's be real, the Knicks' defensive ceiling with Robinson is undeniably higher. He is a way better rim protector and a much more disruptive force on the offensive boards. His ability to give the Knicks 2nd and 3rd opportunities is what allowed them to pull away so quickly against Chicago. However, we also have to remember why we traded for KAT in the first place, because he provides the 20 and 12 production and the elite floor spacing that allows the offense to breathe. But having Mitchell Robinson as a luxury starter or a high-minute backup is what makes the 2026 Knicks so dangerous. Mike Brown now has 2 completely different identities he can pivot to mid-game. If a team is playing small and fast, he uses Karl-Anthony Towns. If a team is trying to bully us in the paint, he brings in the anchor. Mitchell Robinson's performance against the Bulls proved that he's 100% back to his pre-injury form, and that might be the biggest development of the week. Now let's talk about the injury updates for tonight's game at Atlanta. Guess what? There are none. That's right, nobody on the Knicks team is on the injury report for tonight's game in the first time in months. And we're going to need everyone on this roster to beat this flaming hot Atlanta Hawks team in their home court tonight. As we head into tonight's matchup against the Hawks, the stakes are simple. We have 4 games left: Atlanta tonight, Boston on Thursday, Toronto on Friday, and Charlotte on Sunday. We are currently 50-28. The Cleveland Cavaliers are sitting 1.5 games behind us in the 4th seed. A win tonight in Atlanta would effectively put the 3rd seed on ice. The Hawks are 45-33 and sitting at the 5th seed, so they are fighting to maintain their own position and avoid a first-round date with us or Cleveland without home court. This is a potential playoff preview. Atlanta has won 4 straight and they are 8-2 in their last 10. They are playing high-level basketball right now. But of course, the game that we are looking forward to the most is the Knicks and Celtics on Thursday. That is going to be a big test for us to pass. So the Knicks are a 50-win team, they are healthy at the right time, they are deep, and most importantly, they are playing for each other. The Bulls game was a reminder that even when the stars are out, the system remains elite. Tonight in Atlanta is the final road test before a 3-game homestand to close out the year. If the energy from the Bulls game on Friday travels to Georgia for tonight's game, the Hawks do not stand a chance. But I'm staying even-keeled. Regular season milestones are great, but the real work starts in 12 days. Let me know in the comments, who is your X factor for the playoffs? Is it KAT or OG shooting, Mikal, or Mitch's defense? I'll be in the comments all day talking hoops. It's been KNYT here, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.